Korea said Tuesday that
Korea's economic figures for the third quarter were released. The economy grew 1.1% compared to the previous quarter. This is a better-than-expected result. However, export figures, which account for half of GDP, declined, bogged down by unstable factors like the rising value of the Korean won. Is the sudden surge in GDP during the third quarter a positive sign that the Korean economy might be moving away from sluggish growth?
The U.S. budget standoff and the planned stimulus tapering could have a negative impact on the Korean economy next year.
Economics correspondent Hwang Ji-hye gave us an extensive report on News in Depth. On October 29th, Korea celebrated its 50th Savings Day. In the past, savings powered economic growth in Korea, and many considered savings to be a virtue. But this has changed, and the average monthly savings for a Korean household has dropped to 3%.
There's nothing to save. The problem with low interest rates is that it induces people to create more debt rather than save.
The trend shows a decrease in household savings and a rise in company savings. Reporter Yulian looked into the reasons and the problems surrounding how much Koreans are saving.
유리한 아리랑 뉴스.
voters are taking to the
On October 30th, Korea held by-elections. People took to the voting booths in 2 locations, and although it was a small-scale election, anticipation about the results was high because they could be viewed as a litmus test for President Park Geun-hye's first year in office.
I will do my best to accelerate development in this city by 10 years.
It is a battle with the current party in power that is going against public sentiment.
The participation rate of young voters was a point of interest, especially amid political tensions between the ruling and opposition parties over alleged involvement in last year's presidential election by the National Intelligence Service. The recent by-election ended with a sweeping victory by the ruling party. Reporter Jin-joo covered the election while looking into how the outcome might affect the future of Korean politics.
Arirang News.
The recent parliamentary audit was the largest in size in Korean history. Amid the intensity of the parliamentary audit, there was one person at the site concentrating on reporting the event.
짤막하게 해주시면 안 될까요? 거기 회의장 앞으로. 그러면 좀만 연습할게요. 다시 할게요. 마음에 안 들어. 김현지, 아리랑 뉴스.
김yeon-ji, 아리랑 뉴스.
기자회견장에서 그거 발표하는 거 녹취 따고 스탠드업 할 것 같아요. 네네네.
Yeon-ji has been working from the National Assembly almost every day. She's been busier than ever, with the parliamentary audit almost coming to an end. She is the one and only National Assembly Correspondent from Arirang TV.
General nominee Kim Yeon-ji has begun preparations for his confirmation hearing.
So she has a lot to handle.
Spy agency controversy.
김yeon-ji, Arirang News. So this is the third week of the parliamentary audit, which comes once every year. And ever since the parliamentary audit started, I've been covering, what's really taking place each day. So I would go to the National Assembly earlier than usual, and I would try to pick up the press releases that each lawmaker kind of puts out in the morning. And so I would kind of scan through what kind of questions this specific lawmaker would have on a given topic. And I kind of just prepared myself mentally for what's going to come.
그 홍지문 대변인님께 저희가 그 김진태 검찰총장 후보자 내정에 관해서 그 당에서 어떻게 평가하시는지만 하나 여쭤봐도 될까요? 혹시 가능하시면 바로 와서 짧게만 따도 되는데 안 될까요? 네, 알겠습니다. 예, 예. 일단 거절을 한 번 하셨고.
Yeon-ji is trying to get reactions from the ruling and opposition parties about the candidate for the new prosecution chief. But she faces challenges from the
저희가요,
start.
그 김진태 검찰총장 후보자 내정에 대해서 그 민주당에서 어떻게 평가하시는지 그 정호준 원내대변인님께 저희가 인터뷰 하나만 부탁드릴 수 있을까 해서 연락드렸거든요. 아, 네, 예. 아, 그러시겠구나. 네네.
She gets turned down again.
하겐 씨, 지금 그 민주당 이현주 대변인님 들어오실 거예요. 45분부터. 일단 그거 따주시고요. 제가 지금 그 아예 그 우리 주제에 관해서 인터뷰 요청을 드렸어요. 딴 대변인한테. 그래서 지금 답을 기다리고 있으니까 그 동안에 일단 그거는 따주시고요. 네, 스탠바이 해주세요. 제가 바로 연락드릴게요. 네.
She makes phone calls and sends out text messages. But it's not easy to get people to talk on the record. In case she needs it later, Yeon-ji has asked for a recording of the opposition party briefing.
네, 보좌관님. 네. 저희가 그 앞으로 갈게요. 그 짤막하게 해주시면 안 될까요? 거기 회의장 앞으로. 하여튼 저희는 진짜 짧게 해도 되거든요. 그러니까 예. 네. 알겠습니다. 다음에 또 연락드릴게요. 예. 네. 다 국감 때문에.
뭔데요?
네. 국감 때문에 다 지금 들어가 계셔가지고 상황이 좀 안 좋은가 봐. 그러니까.
In the end, all the effort made went to waste, but there is a recording from a previous shoot which provides some relief.
In the face of the investigation
Waiting anxiously for the slightest of chances, and being ready in the case of a changing situation. This is the common routine for a National Assembly correspondent.
The confirmation hearing for the Prosecutor General nominee will be held at the National Assembly next month.
Finally, the day's story comes closer to being completed.
Kim Yeon-ji, Arirang News.
The next day, Yeon-ji starts her day at the National Assembly as well. The hottest topic at the parliamentary audit of the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs was the issue of raising the target price of rice.
과연 이동필 장관이 지금까지 과연 얼마나 능력을 발휘했습니까? 무능하고 전혀 책임이 없는 무책임하고
많은 돈을 올려준 게 좀 당연히 타당하다고 보고 농민들의 주장이 분명히 일리가 있습니다.
There were two interesting audits that my news director and I picked in advance. So one of them was the Judiciary Committee, and the other one was the Agriculture Committee. And with the Judiciary Committee, we've been following this event for a long time, and maybe since we didn't, cover the Agriculture Committee, at all before, maybe this will be an interesting audit to follow on the second day.
지금 쌀 수확하고 있지 않습니까? 전면 다 공개해야 됩니다, 이건.
전체 농업을 대변하는 자리이기 때문에 국정감사의 중단은 있어서는 안 된다고 생각합니다.
법령에 규정된 범위를 초과해서 추가적으로 인상하는 것은 제도의 취지에 맞지 않다. 이런 문제가
Yeon-ji is silently busy at work amid the dynamic events unfolding at the parliamentary audit session.
지금 현재 어떻게 접촉을 하고 어떤 내용으로 쌀 목표 가격과 관련된
After an intense back and forth,
국정감사 중지를 선언합니다.
just then, one farmer jumps to his feet, being bothered by the suspension of the parliamentary audit. The farmer is overwhelmed with emotion and anger and the minister is unable to answer. The parliamentary audit session is in complete chaos.
That was something that nobody expected. I mean, that just shocked us all, because, when you go in for a parliamentary audit, everybody just sits there quietly and nothing really that dramatic happens. But something like that just was, taking place right before my eyes, and I was like, whoa, this is huge. Wow. So many emotions and, just a hot topic that I didn't really know about before. So that's why I thought, okay, this is gonna be the story of the day for me.
네, 위원님, 저 김현지인데요. 그래서 이게 되게 좀 크게 좀 사건이 있었어서 이걸로 오늘 혹시 하나 하면 안 될까요? 제가 더 알아보고 이제 제가 방금 있었던 일을 말씀드리는 거고요.
Yeon-ji has made the decision to write this particular story.
알겠습니다. 더 지켜보고 말씀드리겠습니다. 네.
The emotional upheaval by the farmers reaches its height outside of the session.
농업 포기하면 이 나라 살 수가 없습니다. 8년 전의 가격 그대로를 오늘 또 주장하고 있는 장관을 보면서 우리 가슴 터져서 안에서 못 견딜 지경이었습니다.
This agitation escalated over the price of rice.
11월 15일 여의도
우리 새벽부터 올라왔습니다. 여기까지. 농민들이 왜 새벽부터 이 국회까지 와가지고 이렇게 해야 되는지 정말 모르겠습니다.
쌀 목표 가격 23만 원 보장하라.
The voice of the farmers shifting from hope to despair. It's a scene reporter Kim Yeon-ji makes sure to get.
농사 짓기가 많이 힘드셨던
그렇습니다. 지금 여러분들이 느끼는 것 같습니다. 지금 농민들이 빚이 많이 져갖고 있는데 그 빚을 누구 때문에 졌겠습니까? 내 자식들만 먹여 살리는 것이 아니라 대한민국 국민들 전체를 먹여 살린다는 그런 농민들은 그런 자부심을 갖고 있습니다. 근데 그것 때문에 빚이 져 있고 거기서 조금이라도 이렇게 좀 헤어나고 싶어서 좀 몸부림을 치는 그런 형태입니다. 지금 상태가. 농민들한테 찾아올 수 있는 그런 정책을 좀 펴줬으면 좋겠습니다.
감사합니다.
Yeon-ji has many questions to follow.
이렇게 좀 인상해 주는 거에 대해서 너무 이렇게 우려가 안 해주려고 하는 것 같으세요?
예를 들어서 목표 가격이 높으면 높을수록 쌀값이 오르지 않으면 정부에서 보존을 해야 될 돈이 코스트가 높아지기 때문에 그걸 줄이기 위해서 그런 속내가 저희들은 있는 것이라고 좀 보고 있습니다.
회의 언제쯤 개회될까요?
지금 불투명합니다.
여야 간사님들끼리 협의하고 계신 거예요?
네, 아마 저기 위원장실에 한번 가보시면 상황 파악이 받으실 거예요.
아, 그래요?
It has been an hour since the parliamentary audit was suspended. Yeon-ji is still looking around the parliamentary audit session with a keen eye. Just then, she spots an opposition party member, which provides her an opportunity to hear the positions of the political parties and the government on the issue.
경제학 면적이 늘어나는 거고
네.
또 그것 때문에 정부의 예산 부담이 크다 이렇게 보는 것이 정부의 입장이죠.
그게 맞는 거예요, 근데? 아니면
우리가 이제 애초에 주장하는 것은 그것은 정부의 생각이고 FTA가 시작되고 난 다음에 직불제를 하려고 했던 처음에 취지는 그게 아니잖아요. 농가를 어떻든지 간에 살려내는 것이 기본적인 것이고.
의원님, 저 죄송한데 그거 짤막하게 뉴스 싱크용으로 한 말씀만 해주시면 안 돼요? 그러니까 정부의 입장, 아리랑 TV요. 네, 아리랑 TV 김현지 기자입니다.
우리 민주당이 주장하는 것은 이게 애초에 FTA가 시작되면서 농민들의 생활 안정 이런 사회보장적 성격이 강하기 때문에 이런 부분에 대해서 저희가 여당에게 앞으로 5년 동안 쌀의 목표 가액을 좀 올려야 된다는 것을 이제 주장을 하고 있는 거죠.
네, 고맙습니다.
그 정도에서 편집.
네, 고맙습니다. 네.
So looking back, my phone conversation with the news director, I think it helped me because, you know, at the time I felt like he didn't really understand how big this event is, but I was actually focusing on the stance of farmers, you know, because that just caught my attention. Why are they so angry? So I was only focusing on that. But, you know, having all these different people talk about this issue, the rice price, I was able to, you know, do a story on this issue.
That afternoon,
농림축산식품부와 새누리당이 농업보호, 농업인 소득 보전을 위한 진전된 쌀 목표 가격을 제시할 때까지 농림축산식품부의 국정감사를 무기한 중단할 것을 선언한다.
with an unexpected briefing, Yeon-ji hurries herself again.
이제 농림부는 다시 이제 안 하시는 거예요, 국감기관에는. 그래도 정부의 안이 필요한 상황인데 좀 어떻게 대책이
일단
있으신가요?
이런 입장인데 또 이제 뭐 여야란 게 있는 거니까 또 다른 협의가 있을지도 모르겠습니다. 지금 현재로서 이렇습니다.
Now it is time to wrap up the coverage for the story. The story is being organized with a continuous chain of unexpected events at the parliamentary audit session.
So that's why I thought about shortening it too, but I didn't want to like take out things like, oh, it hurts me very much, like blah, 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 you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, the target price should go up to more than $300 for 80 kilograms, which they say is a minimum level that can sustain their. Farmers want the target price raised to $217 per 80 kilograms. Some lawmakers say the target price should go up to more than $300. Kim Yeon-ji, Arirang News.
Kim Yeon-ji reports.
Lawmakers sitting on the Parliament's Agriculture Committee demanded on Tuesday that the agriculture
At the heart of Korean politics, the National Assembly,
price of rice.
she has recorded the dynamic and intense events that were unfolding there.
The audit jumped to their feet. Response.
It hurts me very much, but my party believes the target price should go up.
Its reporter, Kim Yeon-ji.
Arirang News.
You know, it's not like every day that our foreign audience gets to hear from this farmer all the way from Gwangju and, you know, what problems they face in an increasingly competitive market in Korea with all the FTAs and things like that. So, and also, you know, it's not like every day that the viewers, you know, hear about the Korean government's stance on this issue of rice prices and things like that. So, yes, it was again another very busy and hectic day, but I was happy to leave the National Assembly that day knowing that I did something good and worthwhile as a reporter.
Good to see you again.
So we're talking to you on.
항상 지금 always the question is very challenging and very predictive. But it's
Predictable and challenging.
Korea's reopened the shuttered Kaesong Industrial Complex today.
So are we seeing improving relations on the Korean peninsula?
For more on Pyongyang's abrupt cancellation of King's visit, we're joined by Dr. Cheol-woo Kim.
It's kind of a new analogy to describe this situation. Yes, nuclear issue is a big issue, but it's still step-by-step approach. It's very appropriate actions. A more dire situation will increase their propagandistic effect.
Should we go over one by one?
Any question?
Yeah. So North Korea has been changing its stance. It's becoming more of a softer stance now. Olive branch maybe. They allowed South Korean lawmakers to come to.
North Korea, in a very rare move, returned 6 South Korean detainees across the border at the tourist village of Panmunjom Friday.
A 21-member delegation from the National Assembly's Foreign Affairs and Unification Committee made a rare visit to the Kaesong Industrial Complex on Wednesday.
It's too early to say
this offer or this gesture as olive branch. That olive branch is so changeable. The thing is, the North Korean nuclear strength is getting stronger over time, although within the international isolation. So I think they are trying to open up a little bit about Kaesong Industrial Complex to the South Korean lawmakers is very significant. It comes with lots of media splash within South Korea, and then they want to target on the Park Geun-hye administration's changed policy toward North Korea.
Also, the repatriation of South Korean defectors living.
Yes, indeed. The repatriation of 6 South Koreans and 1 dead body. Of all the 6 South Koreans repatriation on the South Korean lawmakers' invitation toward Kaesong Industrial Complex, they are signaling to South Korea, why don't we get together again and discuss things about
another discussion.
Further discussions.
But at the same time, they're heating things up at their nuclear test site, according to the satellite images.
In April, the North announced the reboot of its facilities at Yangbyon, and recent satellite imagery of the complex suggests steady progress has already been made. Pyongyang is believed to have doubled the floor size of its uranium enrichment plant and reactivated its plutonium production reactor.
That satellite image is not secretive enough. They are providing that verifiable and identifiable materials in public.
So do you think they are doing this on purpose?
On purpose to blackmail. Action is the message, right? So they want to see the real verifiable action by North Korea, not just for the sake of talks.
Right.
To going back to the 6-party talks. We can interpret this kind of gesture, open up a little bit of their door is one of the actions they can provide us. So kind of dual and multiplex approach towards South Korea and United States.
We'll talk more.
Okay.
Take on the latest developments surrounding the Korean Peninsula. We bring in Dr. Kim Chol-woo, Senior Research Fellow at Korea Institute for Defense Analyses. Welcome to the program.
Great to be here. Let's think about the abruptly start